Hey everyone, Wags here from Eagle Dynamics, and in this DCS, I'm just kidding, this is Prof from the 40th TFS Voodoos, one of your instructor pilots. We're going to go through the startup procedure for the F-16C. Now your startup procedure, you may have learned it in a different order, that's fine, as long as all the same systems are turned on when we're done. So, starting from the bottom left, we're going to go to our power switch and turn on our main power, and then we're going to go to the jet fuel starter and hit start 1. We hit start 1 because if we hit start 1 and something goes wrong, we can always use start 2. If we start with start 2, we have nowhere to go if something bad happens. And as that's happening, I usually like to close the canopy. And what we're looking for while we're doing our jet fuel starter, I'm going to close the canopy lock here, is for this little SEC light to go out and for our engine to hold at 20 RPM, and both of those things are now happening, so we can move our throttle over to the idle position, which I think is left or right shift home, or if you have a throttle bound to it, you can just move it into idle. And you can hear the engine spooling up. There's not a lot to do during spool up, but one of the things you can do is come over to your standby attitude indicator and roll this up, get that centered on the horizon line. You can skip that step later. Now, once the engine is on, all the electronics are going to start kicking on in the cockpit, and you can continue with startup. So, going to the right hip station, we're going to turn on several of these switches: MMC, ST, STA, MFD, UFC, and GPS. Then we're going to set our INS knob to stored heading and our MIDS knob to on. Now, once we hit that INS knob, we don't want to touch our flight stick, our rudder pedals, or any of the flight control surface switches back here, because any movement from any of the flight control surfaces will throw off your INS alignment, and you'll have to reseat or do it again. That's no fun. But we can start moving some of the electronics and lights in the rest of the cockpit. So at this point, I like to go left to right through the cockpit and kind of do a sweep as we're getting that done. So we're going to go to our IFF panel, set the master knob to norm. That's all we need to do there. Turn on your lights as required during day. We usually set them to bright for wing, tail, and fuselage. We can come to our TACAN and turn the volume all the way down. Not going to need that. I like to set up the backup radio and push it over to the standard guard frequency of 243. And then we can come up to our countermeasure system and turn on our RWR, our jammer, chaff and flare buckets, set our mode, and turn on our helmet mounted cueing system. Set our landing lights to taxi. Go ahead and clear that master caution. Over on the right here, on our right MFD, we can hit the OSB next to XMIT off. And once that says TNDL, we're now transmitting on data link. We'll come to the bottom right underneath our stick, turn on our radar altimeter, our fire control radar, and we can go ahead and turn on our left and right hard points. I don't have anything in them today, but it doesn't hurt to have them on, and it's a good habit, because when you do have them, you want them powered. Now with all that done, we can start looking at the HUD. So we'll turn the HUD symbology up, and just in time, our alignment has finished. We can go ahead and move our INS knob into the nav position, and the jet is ready to fly as far as INS is concerned. Now we have a couple more things to do on the ICP. So we'll return out with the Dauber switch. We'll go to List, 0 for MISC, and 8 for Bull. And all we need to do on this page is hit 0 or Mode Select, and that turns on our bullseye information on the HUD and in both MFDs. So we're at 145 for 1 mile. Return out. Next step is to align our helmet mounted cueing system with our HUD so that when we look out the window, we actually see where our sensors are pointed accurately. So to do that, we're going to hit List, 0 for MISC, R or Recall for our hammocks, and then we're going to Dauber right once, and now we're on the hammocks align page. So to get in and out of all these items, all we do is hit Mode Select and do some stuff in between. So we're going to hit Mode Select or 0. And on the first one, our course alignment, all we need to do is line up this little cross that our helmet is displaying with the big cross on the HUD. So we're going to line those up and then hold the cursor enable switch until we see a line OK. Now if you don't get it exactly on the line, that's alright. That's what these other two steps are for. So we're going to hit Mode Select to get out of that one, and Mode Select again to get right back into the azimuth and elevation alignment. And so you see here now we have two crosses that move around when we move our throttle designator cursor around. And all we need to do for this first setting is get this little cross aligned with the center of the big cross. So we'll move that over, and it can be a little finicky. That looks pretty good. Once that's all aligned, we'll hit Mode Select, and then we'll hit Mode Select one more time to go into the roll portion of the alignment. And all we do on this one is move this one on the bottom with our throttle designator cursor left and right. And the objective is to get this vertical line on the small cross lined up with the vertical line on the big cross. And that is ready to go. You can return out. Go ahead and set up your comms as you've been briefed. So COM 1, your uniform frequency is here. COM 2, your Victor frequency is here. And if you have a TACAN that you need to set up, hit 1 for TACAN and ILS settings, and then start punching in your TACAN information here. Now at this point, the jet's ready to load ordnance on it. We're not going to do it today. You would do that through the radio menu, and that would be briefed by your flight lead or whoever's taking you up. And the last piece that we would normally do over at the hold short line, but we're not going to taxi out in this video today, we turn on our RWR by hitting power right here, and we arm our ejection seat by throwing that handle down. And once that's done, you're ready to take off.